The sun rises over Los Angeles, casting a deceptively warm glow on the glittering skyline. At first glance, everything appears serene in the world of the bold and the beautiful. But beneath this fragile calm, dark clouds are forming, threatening to engulf the lives of those who thought they were safe. As the week of July 7 to 11 begins, 3 gunshots will change everything. And for Bill Spencer, a father burdened by guilt and a past full of questionable decisions, this will be the week that breaks him. In recent episodes, tensions have been running high. Emotions once suppressed have begun bubbling to the surface. Luna Nozawa, freshly pardoned and attempting to rebuild her life, has found herself spiraling into emotional turmoil. While Bill Spencer fought tooth and nail to ensure her freedom, many around him, especially Steffy Forrester and Ridge, warned him of the consequences. They saw Luna as a liability, someone not yet ready to re-enter a society still wounded by her past actions. Bill, stubborn and fiercely loyal to those he cares about, chose to believe in Luna. He saw in her a chance for redemption, a soul deserving of grace. But now, with his son Liam Spencer critically injured, perhaps fatally so, that act of compassion might become the weight that finally pulls him under. As spoilers tease, 3 characters will take a bullet this week. But it's Liam's fall that will send shockwaves through the entire B&B universe. His apparent heroism, stepping in to protect Steffy Forrester in a moment of chaos, may come at a devastating cost. Reports suggest that Luna herself may have fired the shot. Whether in self-defense, confusion, or emotional breakdown remains unclear. But what is certain is this: the bullet that strikes Liam will not only pierce flesh, but rip through every bond holding the Spencer family together. Bill Spencer will be among the first notified of the shooting. For a man who thrives on control and dominance in both business and personal life, the call from the hospital will shatter his composure. According to the bold and the beautiful insiders, Don Diamont delivers a gut-wrenching performance as Bill receives word that his son may not survive the night. The camera will follow Bill in real time as he drops everything, storms out of Spencer Publications, and rushes to the hospital, haunted by a single suffocating thought. This is my fault. And maybe it is. The layers of this tragedy run deep. Luna's freedom was bought at the cost of every warning ignored. While others doubted her, Bill believed. He pushed for her release, used his power to clear her name, and even attempted to bring her into the Spencer family orbit. In doing so, he unknowingly loaded the gun now responsible for his son's suffering. This preview wouldn't be complete without highlighting the emotional stakes simmering between Liam and his father. Their relationship has long been complicated, marked by pride, betrayal, estrangement, and half-healed wounds. And yet, beneath the anger, there's always been an unspoken love, a yearning for connection that both men have often struggled to express. As Liam lies unconscious in a sterile hospital bed, his future uncertain, that longing will finally explode into the open. The pain Bill feels is not just for the bullet that tore into his son's body. It's for the years wasted, the apologies never said, the chances not taken. And now, as he may be losing Liam forever, Bill is forced to ask himself, did I do this? Did my pride cost me my son? And that's only the beginning. Because according to leaked set details and early spoiler footage, Liam's injuries may reveal something even more terrifying. A mysterious brain tumor that no one saw coming. And it seems Grace Buckingham, with her own buried secrets, is suddenly very invested in Liam's treatment. Why? What is she hiding? Why is someone calling her in the middle of the night, warning her to stay quiet? As these threads begin to unravel, The Bold and the Beautiful is preparing to deliver a week filled with emotion, suspense, and the kind of drama that leaves audiences breathless. The storm has just begun, and no one in Los Angeles will walk away unchanged. In the next chapter, we'll dive deep into the moment everything goes wrong, the gunshot, the screams, Luna's collapse, and Liam's final act of heroism that will leave him hovering between life and death. It begins with a scream, not one of terror, but of confusion, of a heart cracking under the pressure of secrets, guilt, and expectations too heavy for any one soul to carry. Luna Nozawa didn't wake up that morning intending to harm anyone. In fact, she had finally begun to believe she might deserve happiness again. Freed by Bill Spencer's influence, she was tentatively stepping back into a life she barely recognized. One filled with complicated affections, wary stares, and a haunting sense that she didn't belong. But what Luna didn't know what none of them knew was how fragile that new beginning truly was, and how close the past had followed her, shadow-like and silent. The day of the shooting starts like any other in the bold and the beautiful universe. Glitz, glamour, whispered conversations behind office doors, and subtle shifts in loyalty. At the Forrester estate, Steffy Forrester is hosting a tense gathering, part celebration, part peace talk. Luna is invited. Liam Spencer, ever cautious, arrives to check on Steffy, unaware that the love triangle of the past is about to turn into something far more dangerous. Tensions rise quickly. According to early script leaks and spoiler insiders, Luna receives a mysterious message just before the shooting, possibly a threat or a reminder of something unresolved. Her body language stiffens, her voice shakes. She clutches her purse tightly, unknowingly drawing the attention of Liam, who watches from the edge of the room, reading every flicker of fear on her face. And then, in a single chaotic moment, it happens. A gunshot, sharp, loud, shattering. People scream. Steffy ducks for cover. Someone knocks over a tray of champagne. Glass flies across the floor. And in the middle of it all, Liam steps in. The details remain murky. Was Luna defending herself? Was someone else reaching for the weapon? Could it have even been an accidental discharge? No matter the technicalities, the result is the same. Liam takes the bullet. 1 second he's lunging towards Steffy, the next his body is slamming to the floor. Blood blooming across his shirt. A stunned silence descending upon the room. And Luna? She's frozen, the gun slipping from her trembling fingers. Eyes locked on the man who just saved someone else from her unintended wrath. I didn't mean to, she whispers over and over again until the paramedics arrive. Steffy drops to Liam's side, cradling his head, blood on her hands. Her sobs are visceral, raw, shaking as she begs him to hold on. But Liam is barely conscious. His lips move, as if to say something to her, or perhaps to Luna, but no sound escapes. His eyelids flutter, and then he goes still. Cut to sirens, flashing red lights, and Bill Spencer pacing outside Spencer Publications, unaware that his entire world is about to implode. Back inside the Forrester home, the fallout has already begun. Ridge is demanding answers, Finn is checking vitals. Luna is escorted out by police, her cheeks streaked with tears, her wrists now bound by cold, impersonal handcuffs. She doesn't resist. How could she? She doesn't even fully understand what just happened. The camera lingers on the bloodstain on the carpet, a mark that no amount of wealth, no designer rug, no public relations statement will ever erase. At the hospital, Liam is rushed into surgery. Doctors speak in hushed tones. A nurse updates Steffy. The bullet was close to his spine. We won't know the full extent until he's out. It's a race against time. Meanwhile, Bill receives the call. And for the first time in years, the man known for his calculated power moves, his ruthless ambition, and his ironclad will, shatters. He doesn't speak, doesn't argue, just grabs his car keys and drives, too fast, too recklessly, toward the hospital, where his son lies somewhere between life and death. Inside the ER, Steffy sits alone, blood still on her dress. She recalls Liam's last words to her. Get down. A moment of pure instinct, selflessness. He didn't hesitate. He didn't ask questions. He just protected her. But what makes this act even more painful is the history between them. They've loved, lost, and circled each other for years. And now, in what might be their final moment together, Liam sacrificed himself. Not as an ex, not as a co-parent, but as someone who never stopped caring. The episode ends with a gut-wrenching shot. Luna in an interrogation room, hands shaking. It was an accident, she pleads. I didn't know it was loaded. Cut to Bill, standing outside the operating room. His eyes are red, his fists clenched. And in that silence, we hear him whisper, "Don't take him from me." The automatic hospital doors slide open, and Bill Spencer storms in like a man possessed. There's no suit, no tie, no perfectly calculated smirk. This is not the titan of industry, the billionaire who commands boardrooms and manipulates empires with a phone call. This is a father, a terrified, desperate, broken father. He's barely listening as a nurse tries to explain protocol. Sir, the doctors are with him now. Please wait in the lobby. But Bill isn't hearing her. His mind is spinning, replaying the words he just heard over the phone. Mr. Spencer, your son Liam has been shot. Those 8 words fractured him. And as he sits in the sterile hospital waiting room, head in hands, The weight of his decision to help Luna comes crashing down. Luna, that name echoes in his mind like a curse. The same girl he fought for, defended, stood up for in front of powerful enemies and skeptical allies. The girl he vouched for when no one else would. Bill Spencer believed he was giving Luna Nozawa a second chance. Instead, he may have signed his own son's death certificate. In the hours following the shooting, the Spencer family fractures even further. Wyatt arrives first, pale, shaken. "What the hell happened, Dad?" he demands. Bill can't answer. How could he? What words could possibly justify any of this? Then comes Katie, tears already staining her cheeks. "Is he conscious? Has anyone seen him?" she pleads. The only response is silence. Word spreads quickly. Ridge, Finn, and Steffi are locked in emotional turmoil across the hospital. The Forrester family is united in grief and fury. And while Luna sits behind locked doors, awaiting legal representation, the world outside begins to turn on Bill. And perhaps rightfully so. He's not the one who pulled the trigger, but he's the one who freed the person who did. A flashback plays in Bill's mind, vivid and piercing. Luna sitting across from him in his office, eyes wide, voice shaking as she said, "I just want a chance to be good again." And he believed her. He wanted to believe her. Maybe because he saw something in Luna that reminded him of Liam, a gentle heart buried under trauma and loss. Maybe deep down, Bill thought that saving Luna was like saving the broken parts of himself. But now that decision has consequences. A young doctor emerges from the operating room, eyes tired but composed. "Mr. Spencer, Liam's out of surgery." Bill stands so quickly his chair tips backward. "Is he alive?" and he chokes out. The doctor nods. "Yes, he's stable for now, but there's more. We found something unexpected during the operation, a mass in his brain." Time stopped. The room around Bill blurs. The doctor's voice becomes muffled, like an echo in a wind tunnel. All he hears is mass, brain, tumor. Two crises colliding into one unbearable truth. Not only is Liam fighting to survive a gunshot wound, he may also be living with a terminal illness. The guilt that already crushed Bill now obliterates him. He finds himself alone at the side of his unconscious son, allowed a short visit before Liam is transferred to recovery. The camera lingers on Bill's trembling hand as he reaches out, placing it carefully on Liam's arm. "You were always better than me," he whispers. "Even when you hated me. Even when I didn't deserve it." Tears fall freely. There's no one to impress, no empire to protect. Only a father and a son, one unconscious, the other unraveling. "I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought giving her a chance meant I was being a better man, but I was just being reckless, like always." His voice breaks. "You were my chance, Liam, my second chance, not her." He falls to his knees beside the bed, silent sobs overtaking him. This isn't just grief. This is remorse in its purest form. Because what if Liam doesn't wake up? What if the gunshot wasn't the beginning of the end, but a final trigger in a story already marked by tragedy? The tumor, the surgery, the silence. Bill may never get to say what he's saying now. Outside the room, Steffi watches through the glass, heartbroken. She may never love Bill Spencer, but in this moment, she sees a father in agony, and part of her wants to scream at him, to rage against the man who brought Luna into their lives. But another part, a quieter part, recognizes that Bill is already punishing himself far worse than anyone else ever could. Across the city, reporters are starting to catch wind of the incident. Spencer Publications is under pressure. The headlines will read, "Luna Nozawa, pardoned by Bill Spencer, now accused of shooting his son." And yet none of that matters to Bill, not the media, not the investors, not even the lawsuits that are surely on the horizon. All that matters is Liam. As the night stretches into morning, Bill remains at his son's bedside, holding his hand, whispering broken apologies, praying to a God he's long stopped believing in. "If you wake up, I swear, I'll fix this. I'll fix everything." But promises mean nothing to a man in a coma. And as the machines beep steadily in the background, Bill realizes that this hospital room, this cold chair, this silent vigil, is the price of his own hubris. He saved Luna, and now he may have lost everything else. The hospital corridor is silent in the early morning hours. The last of the night shift nurses shuffle past, eyes tired, voices hushed. Outside room 403, Bill Spencer sits unmoving, a statue of grief and desperation. The man who once commanded skyscrapers now finds himself unable to command the rhythm of his own breath. Inside the room, Liam Spencer lies still, his body pale, motionless, tubes snaking across his arms and machines keeping the beat of his fragile life. The surgery was successful, the bullet removed, but the fight is far from over. Now the true battle begins. Not against the gunshot, but against a silent, hidden threat that no one saw coming, the tumor. Bill finally gathers the strength to enter. The door shuts softly behind him. He approaches Liam's bedside like one might approach a sacred space, with reverence, fear, and aching tenderness. "Hey, kid," he whispers, voice cracking. "You always hated when I called you that." No response. Bill sinks into the chair beside the bed. His hands tremble as he brushes Liam's hair back from his forehead, just like he used to when Liam was small, back when they still had the illusion of time. "They said the surgery went well, you're stable." But they also said, "There's something else, something worse." He pauses, fighting for composure. "A tumor, inoperable. They don't know how long. They won't even guess." Bill's lips tighten. He swallows the lump in his throat and leans closer. "I should have protected you. All my life I've made mistakes, but this one was different. This one hurt you." He glances at Liam's chest, watching it rise and fall. "You took that bullet, Liam, not because you're stupid, not because you're reckless, but because you're better than I'll ever be. You were trying to save someone, like a real man, like the kind of man I've spent a lifetime pretending to be." Tears fall silently. "I let Luna go free. I pushed for her pardon. I ignored the warnings. I did it thinking I was giving someone hope. But I wasn't thinking about what it could cost. I wasn't thinking about you." Bill's voice sharpens, grief turning to anger, but only at himself. "And now here you are, hooked up to these machines, fighting for your life. And I don't even know if I'll get the chance to say I'm sorry." He bows his head, breaking fully now, sobs shaking his powerful frame. The father who once seemed invincible is now utterly human. From behind the glass, Katie watches, eyes filled with sorrow. Beside her, Wyatt says nothing, but the pain on his face is unmistakable. Even Steffi, though still reeling from what happened, finds herself silently moved by the rawness of Bill's breakdown. He stays there for hours, talking, whispering, apologizing, begging. At one point, he clutches Liam's hand and presses it to his forehead. "If you can hear me, fight, please, don't leave me like this." He recalls moments, long-forgotten memories, buried under years of tension. The day he taught Liam how to ride a bike. The time they built a model sailboat and it sank immediately in the lake, but they laughed anyway. The first time Liam called him Dad, with something close to affection. "You were always the best of me, the part I thought I'd lost." And then barely a whisper, "Don't die thinking I didn't love you, don't die thinking this was your fault." Hours pass, doctors enter and leave, but Bill remains. He speaks to Liam about things he never could before. About regret, about legacy, about how money means nothing without family, and about how he's willing to trade every cent he has for one more minute with his son. "I'm not asking for forgiveness, Liam. I'm just asking for time. Time to make it right. Please, wake up. Let me fix this." Then he lowers his head again, exhausted, devastated, clinging to the hope that somewhere inside Liam's unconscious mind, his voice is being heard. In the hallway, the drama continues. Grace Buckingham paces nervously, clutching her phone, receiving cryptic texts that suggest not everything about Liam's tumor is as it seems. The pills she's been prescribing him, the urgency in her voice about treatment, the name Reese flashing on her screen, it all hints at a deeper conspiracy. But Bill doesn't know that yet. Right now, there is only his guilt, his son, and the cold hum of machines keeping hope alive. While Bill Spencer remains at Liam's bedside, drowning in guilt and grief, a parallel storm brews elsewhere in the hospital, one made not of gunshots or fatherly regrets, but of medical mysteries, secret agendas, and long-buried lies that threaten to explode at any moment. At the center of it all is Dr. Grace Buckingham. On the surface, Grace appears composed, Liam's attending physician committed to urgent treatment following the shock tumor discovery. She orders further scans, rushes through blood work, and insists on aggressive action. She tells Steffi and Bill that time is of the essence. But something is off. Grace is too intense, too desperate. And as the camera lingers on her phone screen, we see why. Unknown number of missed calls. Then a message flashes across her phone. "Stop lying. You know what you did, and so will Bill." Her hand trembles as she silences the phone. She casts a quick glance around the hospital corridor before slipping away into a private on-call room, locking the door behind her. There she dials back. The voice on the other end is male, smooth, dangerous. "Reese," she whispers. "About time you called back," he replies. "You've made this worse than it ever had to be." Reese Buckingham, disgraced doctor and Grace's ex-husband, is back in the shadows. Though he's physically absent from Los Angeles, his presence lingers like smoke. Rumors suggest his gambling debts have reached critical mass and that he may have coerced Grace into falsifying medical records. Again. And this time, Liam Spencer might be the victim. Flashbacks reveal troubling details. Grace reviewing Liam's scans before the shooting incident, a report marked pending diagnosis, then suddenly updated to inoperable brain tumor. A confrontation between Grace and a lab tech, where she begs, "Just change the result. If you ever cared about your job, you'll do this." Why would she do this? The clues are subtle but damning. Reese needed quick cash. Grace had access to patients with high insurance policies. And Liam, the son of billionaire Bill Spencer, became the perfect target. If Grace could convince the family of a fatal condition, especially in the chaos following a shooting, perhaps Reese could leverage a medical settlement or blackmail Bill into silence. But now, with Liam unconscious and the truth hanging by a thread, everything is spiraling out of control. Meanwhile, Steffi is growing suspicious. She questions why Grace is pushing so hard for an immediate treatment plan without waiting for neurological specialists. She also notices that Grace seems more flustered than usual, clutching her phone, checking behind her shoulder. Steffi quietly asks a nurse to pull Liam's file. What she finds there shocks her. Discrepancies in the scan timestamps, changes in medication not approved by the ER team, and a note redacted, bearing the initials RB. "Reese Buckingham," Steffi whispers. Suddenly it all makes sense. Reese, Grace's ex, had once stolen Hope Logan's baby and sold it on the black market. He's a manipulator, a fraudster, a man who would twist truth for profit. And now it seems he's manipulating Liam's life or death situation from the shadows. Steffi rushes to Bill. She tells him everything. Her suspicions about the diagnosis, the altered records, and Grace's increasingly erratic behavior. At first, Bill is too stunned to react. But then a slow-burning fury builds behind his eyes. "If they've lied about that tumor," he growls, "if they're using my son for some kind of scam, I swear I will burn this place to the ground." And just like that, Bill Spencer's grief transforms into resolve. He demands a second opinion. He calls in top specialists from New York and Zurich. He places guards outside Liam's door, and most importantly, he tells Katie and Wyatt the truth. There's a chance Liam doesn't have a tumor at all. The ripple effect is immediate. Grace is summoned for questioning by hospital administrators. The FBI opens an inquiry into her connections to Reese, and a quiet nurse confides to Steffi that she overheard Grace whispering about misleading the Spencers just days before the shooting. As Grace faces increasing scrutiny, her world begins to collapse. In one final desperate act, she tries to flee the hospital, but Bill is one step ahead. He confronts her in the parking garage, his voice low, calm, but lethal. "Tell me the truth, now, or I will personally make sure you never practice medicine again." Grace, cornered, begins to cry. "It wasn't supposed to go this far. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. Reese, he said we needed money. I was trying to fix things." "You lied about my son's life," Bill says. "You almost buried him with a false diagnosis." At that moment, a call comes in from the New York specialist. Steffi answers, hands trembling. She listens, then nods. Tears well in her eyes, but this time, they're not from fear. "Liam's scans are clean," she tells Bill. "No tumor. He's going to be okay." The emotional release is seismic. Bill lets out a cry, not just of relief, but of rage, joy, guilt, and gratitude all wrapped into one. He collapses against the wall, overwhelmed, as Steffi and Katie embrace nearby. Inside the hospital, Liam's eyes begin to flutter open. He's alive, he's not dying, and the truth has come out. But the damage remains. Luna, still in custody, has no idea that Liam may now recover. Reese, still elusive, has slipped away once more into the shadows. And Bill? Bill now knows he nearly lost his son. Not because of fate, but because of people he once trusted. And he vows that no one will ever get that close again. As the storm begins to pass, the world of the bold and the beautiful finds itself irrevocably changed. Liam Spencer is alive. The truth about the fabricated brain tumor has been revealed. But for the characters involved, survival is only the first step. Healing, forgiveness, and accountability are still a long way off. Bill Spencer, from guilt to redemption. For Bill, the emotional fallout is far from over. He nearly buried his son under a false diagnosis. He freed a young woman who then accidentally shot Liam. And while Liam's survival brings immense relief, the shame Bill feels is bone deep. In the days that follow, Bill pulls back from business. He doesn't return to Spencer Publications. He ignores board meetings and cancels media appearances. His entire focus is now on making things right, even if that means confronting his own deepest flaws. He begins by visiting Luna in custody. Their encounter is subdued. Luna is broken, remorseful, terrified, not for her own future, but for what she did to Liam. "I didn't mean to hurt him," she whispers through the glass partition. "I didn't even realize the gun was loaded. I was scared. I didn't think." "You don't have to explain," Bill replies softly, "but you do have to answer for it." In that moment, Bill doesn't offer protection. He doesn't pull strings to get her released. He simply tells her the truth. Actions have consequences. But beneath the hard words is something else. A flicker of the man who once believed in second chances. Liam Spencer, a new lease on life. When Liam fully regains consciousness, the first face he sees is Steffi's. Tears fall freely as she tells him the truth. He's safe, the tumor doesn't exist, and Grace is under investigation. Liam is overwhelmed, not just physically, but emotionally. He remembers the shooting, he remembers the pain, but most of all, he remembers the moment of letting go, when he thought it was the end. "I thought I was dying," he tells Steffi in a quiet moment. "And all I could think about was whether my dad ever knew how much I loved him." That statement sets the tone for what's to come. A slow, painful attempt to rebuild the father-son bond that's been fractured by years of pride and miscommunication. Bill visits him the next day. He doesn't say much, just sits beside the bed, eyes glassy. "I'm so sorry, son, for everything, for Luna, for all of it." Liam nods slowly, still weak, but manages a faint smile. "We've both made mistakes, Dad. Maybe this is our second chance." Grace Buckingham, the reckoning. Dr. Grace Buckingham is arrested and charged with medical fraud, obstruction, and reckless endangerment. Her license is suspended. She offers a full confession in exchange for leniency, revealing Reese's involvement and providing investigators with fresh leads. The revelation of Reese's return to manipulation sends shockwaves through the Forrester and Logan families. Hope Logan, in particular, is devastated that the man who once stole her child has nearly destroyed another life. Grace's last appearance, for now, is in a courtroom, where she tearfully tells the judge, "I was trying to clean up the mess my ex-husband left, but in doing so, I created something worse." Steffi, Hope, and the family circle. Steffi remains a pillar of strength throughout the ordeal, but she also struggles with guilt, wondering if Liam wouldn't have been in danger had she not invited Luna to that event. She visits Liam every day, quietly reaffirming their bond, not as lovers, but as co-parents and friends bound by shared history and compassion. Hope is equally shaken. Her own trust in Bill is shaken. How could he be so blind to Luna's fragility? She finds herself wondering what it means for their extended family dynamic. But she also visits Liam, bringing Beth to see her father and reminding him that he still has a life worth fighting for. The future, seeds of new drama. As peace settles in, new complications quietly take root. Luna's legal trial looms, and there are whispers she may plead guilty despite Bill's neutral stance. Reese Buckingham is still on the run, with the FBI tracking financial transactions that lead back to international accounts. A mysterious man is seen watching from afar outside Spencer Publications, possibly connected to Reese, or perhaps someone entirely new. Katie and Wyatt both confront Bill privately, urging him to return to work and not let grief swallow him whole. But Bill's final words in this storyline are perhaps the most telling. He stands alone in Liam's hospital room one night, watching his son sleep peacefully. "You gave me a reason to change, Liam. I don't know if I deserve to be your father, but I'm damn sure gonna try harder from now on." Final thoughts. A storyline that changes everything. This emotionally explosive week on The Bold and the Beautiful has delivered one of the most powerful arcs in recent memory. With gunshots, tumor lies, family breakdowns, and stunning redemptions, the fallout from Luna's mistake and Bill's guilt will reshape the show for months to come. More importantly, it's a turning point, not just for Bill, not just for Liam, but for every character who must now pick up the pieces and decide who they want to become next. Thank you and call to action. Thank you for joining us on this in-depth preview of The Bold and the Beautiful. If you're as emotionally wrecked and excited as we are, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below. What do you think is next for Bill Spencer? Will Liam forgive Luna? Could Reese return to Los Angeles? We'll be watching and updating you every step of the way. Hello and goodbye.